Good evening. I should probably say that we're not just here for a natter, are we? Although that'd be nice. But it has just gone 7:30, and we have an hour allotted to us to explore some online children's, youth, and families work in the light of our situation that we're in. And also thinking forwards to hopefully not too long when we can do a bit more face-to-face work, looking at how we can integrate some of the online stuff maybe that we've been doing in the past in the future as well. I think that's part of what the world is trying to grapple with, isn't it? That we're not just going to throw out everything that we've done for the last year and get back to what we were doing, but we're going to see how the two can complement each other. We'll do some little introductions. I don't know if anyone else will be joining. We did have a few more people book on, but these things tend to, people forget, don't they? You book on and then you're like, oh, I've missed that, never mind. We are recording as well. I hope that's okay with people, so don't share anything too personal. And do anything too crazy that you don't want to see on YouTube. So let's wave to YouTube. Hi, YouTube, if you're watching. So my name is Mike. I'm Children's and Young People's Advisor for the Diocese of Sheffield. I am leading this little webinar with both Steph and Rachel. So I'll let them say hello and who they are. Who's going first?
Shall I go first?
Yes.
You say first for a minute. I'm Steph. I'm a children and families worker on the centenary projects like Rachel. So Rachel's a colleague of mine. That's it. You're wearing the hoodie. 10 out of 10 to you. I'm not. And I work at St. Peter's Church in Bentley. I've been with them for 2 years.
Fabulous. And I'm Rachel, also a centenary project worker, and I am based in Hatfield at St Lawrence Church, where, hello small child, where I'm the youth, children's and families worker, and my voice is currently dying because my children have given me colds that they caught back at school, and I did 4 assemblies on Tuesday back to back, and that's just ruined my voice. So I hope that you'll be able to hear me tonight.
You better stay off camera, bud. Right, we my little boy shouldn't be online, so he's not allowed to look in today because we're recording. So we between the three of us, we're going to do about 10 minutes or so of input each, which will give us a further 20-25 minutes to have conversations, questions, raise whatever. But we're also, all three of us, super happy to be interrupted at any point. So if you have another idea that bounces off something that we've said, say, oh, we've done something like that, we are more than happy for you just to chip in, wave, just to say, oh, can I just say something? That's fine. We will try and keep to an hour. If we go a couple minutes over, feel free to duck out if you need to, but we'll try and keep to time. I think Rachel is going to kick us off with about 10 minutes or so on the more children's and families side of online ministry.
Fabulous. So I apologise because I probably will cough on and off during this. And if you watch the one back from Monday, I'm not coughing in that one, I'm sure. So I'm based in Hatfield, which is kind of a nice-ish sort of suburb of Doncaster. And when I was thinking about what to kind of talk about, I thought I'm just going to bring and share some of my ideas and some of the things that I've done. It's been my first year in the job, and I've done quite a lot of stuff, and I've tried, like, I didn't have anything at the beginning of lockdown going in the church at all, really, apart from Messy Church. So I've just kind of tried things, and so these are ideas and things that I've tried and done. Don't be intimidated by them. Take the bits that kind of make sense to you in your context. And I'm also looking ahead, because I think we've probably already got Easter planned in our heads if we were going to do anything for it. So we're looking ahead. And kind of the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about, it was our summer club that we did last year, which I think was an amazing example of blending virtual and online things with some in-person stuff. So we called it the Socially Distant Staycation Summer Club, which mouthful, but I think it worked. I think people enjoyed that it had that kind of socially distant thing included in the title. And we kind of took a traditional summer club, which would be a week, and where all the children will be in the church building and you'd have all your volunteers. And we went, well, we definitely can't do that. That's definitely not going to happen. So we just kind of threw that out the window a little bit. And we thought, right, we're going to cover the whole 6 weeks. But rather than it be kind of everybody in the building all at once, we're going to provide activities in packs for each of the 6 weeks. And each week was themed around a different country. So we couldn't travel anywhere, so we travelled virtually. And so yeah, so that the children signed up, they got a t-shirt and a pack, and they got 6 envelopes filled with craftings for each of the different weeks. They got things for recipes themed around it, Lego challenges themed around it. So that was all stuff they could do in their homes. To complement that, we had a video at the beginning of the week which had a Bible story. It had songs, it had kind of me doing a craft tutorial video, and actually these weren't that time consuming to make, because a lot of the material is already out there online. A lot of the story videos and the songs are already there, so we just mashed them together with a bit of our flavour on top. I think the thing that worked really well was alongside that, we had sort of a touch point each week with the families. So one week we did a pop-up photo booth where they could come and we could take photos with a Polaroid camera from kind of distance. One week we had a chalk prayer path around the church building that they could come and take part in. One week we had a big art project that they could all come and bring something to contribute to. And all of these things meant that actually the relationships we were building up online, we could solidify with that kind of few minutes of contact, but it'd still be safe. And I think this is still going to be around. I know it said the 21st of June, but I think all of us are kind of a bit, this is all still going to be around, I think, for the summer holidays as well. But the best thing, and what I would really kind of implore to you to include if you are doing anything online, is to find a way that they can contribute and kind of give back. So we call it like shout outs. So when I do Message Church online, and that's on Facebook Live, we always have the opportunity for people to kind of comment below and actually for us to read the comments and shout it back. So say, oh, well, Tommy's watching on and actually for them to hear their names called out online is a massive thing for the young people and the families, because they actually feel like they're part of what's going on. And with our summer club, the way that we did this, and we got permission at the beginning, everyone signed to say that any photos shared could be used. And this was the bit that really did make me cry every week as I was putting it together, was that they could send in their photos, and we mashed them all together into like, we called it the Sunday shout out video, where we kind of announced prizes and kind of winners of things from the week. And then all of the photos would be in a big like slideshow with a Christian song behind it. And we had 50 children sign up to take part. And I thought, like, a lot of us have had that where you don't get anything come back. So, you know, like you say, oh, send me a photo, and nobody sends anything. I had about 100 photos come into me that first week, and I sat there and sobbed as I watched it, the kind of video come together, and people really engage with that. So I would say, like, it is a biggish project, but actually you don't need volunteers on the ground to do it. And I think actually that we've got a lot of volunteers who want to do something, who could put packs together at home or who could contribute from home, and then this would be a really good kind of model to follow. The other thing I was going to say was to think about how you can keep doing stuff online when you go back in person. So at the moment we do our Message Church, and I film it at home on Facebook Live, and it has drawn people in because they come. It's then saved on Facebook. They can watch it whenever they want. And we were talking on Monday, weren't we, about how we live in this kind of culture now where we want to watch things when we want to watch it, not when someone tells us that it's on. And actually, yes, you can watch it live and you can put comments and I'll shout it out live. Actually, a lot of these families now have football clubs and other things that they will be going back to. And actually 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning might not be the time they want to watch it. So Facebook Live, you could film it from your church, the celebration part of your service or the all age part of your service, and then it could be watched back on Facebook when people have the time, or on YouTube or whatever platform you wanted to use. And I think that's a really important thing for us moving forward, is that we have to actually allow people that flexibility to engage with us online at a time that suits them, and not lose that by going back to this kind of rigid, be in the church building at this time. I think I've probably used up all my time. Maybe I've got a couple of minutes, because we started a couple of minutes late.
We started a few minutes late. Keep going. A few more points.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's got any questions, do shout up, because I'll just keep otherwise. The other thing that I've done online that's worked really, really well is a Lego club. So if you've got a Sunday school that you're not seeing, or you want to start like an after school club, which isn't really allowed in schools at the moment, Lego I found is something that a lot of families have already, and this is an idea that takes literally not very much preparation. So we've done a Lego club. It's been at 4 o'clock, so when all the kids are back from school, we do a quick Lego game at the beginning. We do a quick Bible story read out of a children's Bible, and then we give them a big build, like so for like story of Moses in the Red Sea, they went and they made the picture of the Red Sea. For I'm trying to think, for the story of Ruth and the passing of the sandal between Boaz and the other man, we got them to try and make Lego shoes that they could walk in, but very badly. Shoes should not be made of Lego. They're quite painful as well. But like kind of bringing out a concept from each of these stories and getting them to build it in Lego. And me and one of our volunteers sort of chat and have a discussion about it over the top of them all. And you can see them all sat there beavering away on the Lego. But obviously you don't have to make craft things, you don't have to buy things, it doesn't cost you anything. It takes me about an hour beforehand to prepare it. So there's an idea for you. And if anyone's got any questions, I'll try and put some links and things in the chat for you. And I'll pass over to Mike now. Oh.
What about your prayer path? You did a chalk prayer path that was amazing.
I did, and I think I mentioned that as one of the kind of touch points with the summer club. We're going to do it again for Holy Week and have bits of the Holy Week journey around the outside of our church. So I'll share the link for that. If you've got a church where you've got a nice path, it works quite well. And we've got one where that's like, no, we've got a horrible gravel car park, but we've got quite nice flagstones all around our church. And I thought I'd get a lot of stick from some people about chalking on top, because some of them are gravestones and have like inscriptions on them. But actually, even the older people of the congregation loved having this kind of interactive journey around the church. And like we had like a house, and it says, oh, the church is a family, not just a building, like add your stick figure into our church family. And there was loads of stick figures added, and it was just beautiful to see people adding to it. So yeah, we're going to try and recreate it for Holy Week. My last one is going to be a big thing of bunny ears on the floor where they can lie down and be a bunny, like chalk ears.
Get a picture.
So I will get a picture of me. No, don't worry.
Thank you, Rachel. There's a lot there. Does anyone resound with any of that? Anyone done anything on those kind of lines, or anyone think that's a really nice idea to take?
We did well. I did one with on Facebook, our church Facebook page, when last year when we were in lockdown and everybody was clapping for the NHS, and I put on Facebook, anybody who would like to draw a rainbow picture to say thank you to the NHS, do as a picture for church and put it in the post box, and then we'll put it on display. And there was about 50 of these pictures turn up. And I put them on the back. I laminated everyone and put them on the back of a banner, and attach them to the banner, and attach the banner to the church railings. So as everybody comes in the village, all you see was this stream of thank you NHS pictures, and it looked fabulous. Everybody, the comments that came onto the church Facebook page saying it looks great, it was really good.
That's a really great advert for the church as well, isn't
Yeah,
it? Actually, we are a living body of people here. We're actively engaged in our community. We're supporting our care workers. You know, come and find out who we are. We must be fun if we make nice pictures like this. You know, I think that's a really good promotion.
And sometimes it's not about come to this service, come do something serious. Actually, it's just engaging with the community, isn't it? And that can be
it's people who we don't know who gave us these pictures, you know, who posted them. It was just lovely. It was fabulous.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let me do my little slot, and then we can have another little chat, and then Steph will do her slot as well. I've got a couple of little slides just to help me keep on track. I don't know about you. I'm going to speak a little bit more about youth ministry. Is anyone involved with sort of young people's work? Give us a wave if you are, or you're more children's and families. A little bit. Okay, I'll try and be brief then. There's not so many of the youth workers on tonight. Youth work started quite well online. A lot of people thought, oh, you know, young people, this is right up their street. You know, they'll quite happily log on and be very comfortable with video calls and meetings like that. And I think the vast majority of the country discovered that after a couple of weeks, young people didn't actually enjoy that. It's something about seeing themselves on the screen. And I heard somebody who's into the youth brain speak a little while ago, and they said one of the reasons why young people don't like Zoom is because they feel, and they can't stop thinking this, but that if they see themselves online, they feel that everybody is just staring at them. And if you feel that everyone's staring at you, that completely hinders the way that you interact and the way that you join in. And it's the reason that a lot of young people like to turn the camera off. And of course, as soon as you do that, it doesn't even feel like you're together as a group because you can't even see each other. And a lot of youth workers, it seems, have talked about that struggle to keep young people engaged and interacting online. But it did make me think, you know, what is important about youth ministry? And this is my little list. It's not a definitive list as ever, but these are the kind of things that I think, well, if you're going to do good youth work, it's about these things: exploring your identity, give them a bigger vision of what God might be doing in the world, give them a place where they can belong, where they're listened to, where they can laugh, where they can mess around, give them an experience of who God is, engage in conversation. All these things are good youth ministry things, and a lot of them, you know, translate well into children's ministry as well, don't they? But then I thought, well, how many of these things can you do online and do it really well? And my kind of honest answer was, well, a little bit, but not a lot. And so I guess I'm a real advocate in face-to-face youth ministry, says the guy who's leading a seminar on online youth ministry. I think it does have its place, and my next slide is a bunch of ideas of how we can still use the internet and online things in youth ministry. But I guess I want to be somebody who also says, when we can meet with the young people, very gently get back together, rebuild that sense of belonging together, rebuild the sense of trust and love and acceptance, so that there's a place where they belong. Because for young people, the youth group is such an important place. It's that place outside the family, no matter what's going on at home or what shape the family is. The youth group is that sounding board, that place to explore thoughts and feelings, to be vulnerable and to learn together. So that's kind of the little bit before all my ideas to use the online world. Is don't prioritize the online world, but it can supplement what we do sort of on a weekly or fortnightly basis. So here's my little list of ideas, some of which you may well be very familiar with and use, others you might not be so familiar. So top of the list, I think, is healthy and good for youth groups to have like a Facebook group or page. And I know Facebook is a little bit old school for our young people, but a lot of them are on Facebook still, and could interact in a group. Of course, Instagram is the more popular one for young people, and you can have Instagram group messages and things like that. I think they are, as long as you follow your safeguarding policies very carefully with how you connect online, and everyone will have a different policy. Our policy in Sheffield Diocese is not to be direct friends with young people if you're a leader, but actually in a shared space on a group where you will have other leaders as kind of to be a second adult or third adult in the group for a safeguarding point of view. Then having a group where you can post funny things, interesting things, can be a great online place, and it can connect up your face-to-face gatherings, which often are just weekly, maybe twice a week if you're really lucky. You might see them on a Sunday and at an evening youth group as well. But on the in-between times, the online platform is a great place to keep those sort of connections up. I've put photos because I'm a big believer that young people on the whole like to take pictures, whether it's of themselves or of other things. I think you can fall into one of two camps there. There are a lot of young people who the selfie is what it's all about, but other young people like to be a bit arty. It's quite in, isn't it, to be into photography, I think, and to take arty pictures. So you can utilize that if the young people that you work with are into photo taking. You could set some challenges like take your 10 best pictures of something that doesn't move, or set a theme that makes it interesting, or 10 things that you can eat, and take 10 pictures, and then almost have a little bit of a gallery or a competition, vote for your favorite pictures kind of thing. And of course you can share those within sort of a Facebook group or an Instagram. And even like to invite people to share about your hobbies. Take pictures of what you like to do, because we're all about trying to understand and get to know the young people and their whole lives. So if somebody's into running or somebody's into sport or dance or whatever it is, you know, take some pictures so that actually you can tell that story with everybody else, and we can get to know who you are a little bit. So videos off the back of photos is kind of another step up. Sometimes it's fun to say to young people, you know, tell us about the funniest thing that's happened to you in the last year, or you know, what is your most devastating lockdown story from you or your family. And not all young people like to do this, because again, they don't like to necessarily see themselves on a screen. But they don't necessarily have to video themselves, but they could, you know, have something else in the shot while they do a voiceover or something, or be creative. So using video is a good one. Laughter. I'm again a big believer in the power of humor, and actually the power that humor and laughter has to break down barriers and to build friendships and relationships and create shared experiences. That's a good one for youth and children's work, that you create experiences that you can remember together. And sometimes if you can make funny moments happen, they're the things that will be remembered for years. Do you remember that time when, you know, we went on that walk and Dave slipped all the way down that muddy bank, and or whatever it is. But creating memories and sharing humor is really important, and we can do that online as well. Start a group project, video news, family challenges. You can be creative there, depending on the various home setups of the young people and how suitable it would be to engage sort of family at home. You could decide whether that was a way to engage the young people. Sending video messages. So from our point of view as leaders, thinking, how can I communicate regularly with the young people? And I've known a number of young people who over the lockdown period have turned to making videos for their young people. I don't know if anyone's done that for their groups or for the children and the families groups that you work with, but just making, I know Steph's done this, she's nodding. I've seen some of her videos, so they're very good, very funny. But just in the middle of the day, think, oh, that's a very interesting thought, or this funny thing's just happened to me. I'm just going to record this 30-second story of me telling something, or a little message to the young people to let them know that I'm thinking about them, that I love them, I'm praying for them. And then, you know, posting that in the group can be a really powerful way to stay connected. Asking young people to lead online activities as well. It's amazing how many times we forget to ask the young people to contribute and to lead and to do things. Sometimes we get into the sort of rut of, or I've got to organize this now, I've got to organize that, I've got to organize everything. But certainly young people, and even many children, have the abilities to think, you know, about planning something for themselves, arranging a game, or coming up with a funny online activity that the group can do over the next week. There are a few things like Mentee Meter, these online free ways to interact with each other. So Mentee Meter we used at Joined Up, for those of you who are at Joined Up. You can do a poll on there, you can do a quiz, you can do sort of a whiteboard. Mentee Meter is quite versatile, lots of different ways. And it just needs the young people at home to have, you know, a way to not just be on a video call with you possibly, but actually to then be able to access another device and leave a comment or take part in a poll. Jamboard is a little bit like having a sticky note page on a website. You can write a note and then hit enter, and then it appears on a little square on the Jamboard, and it's another good way of just pulling in young people's thoughts and ideas on a situation. So that's another way you can use it. You can even use these kind of things in a physically gathered youth group if young people have got phones. Obviously be sensitive to those who might not have the technology available to them, but if you happen to be in a group where young people do have phones and could interact with that way, right in the middle of a talk or an activity, you could say, right, there's a question, get on your phones and answer it, and we'll see what everyone thinks about something. And Miro is the other one, which is a bit of a whiteboard. You can play Pictionary and things like that, get young people to start drawing on the whiteboard, and everyone has to guess what it is. Kahoot, people come across Kahoot. That's kind of an online quiz game as well. Lots of online quizzes that you can use, or you can create your own. Virtual escape rooms. I keep seeing those on my Facebook feed at the moment. I think I must have clicked on one once and now that's it. I get escape rooms popping up all the time, but Christian themed ones, there's Easter escape rooms and different things like that, sort of clues and quizzes and games that you can play online. Again, it's the kind of thing that you could send a link to your young people and say, you know, before we meet next week, you know, let's have a go at this escape room and see how you get on, or, you know, we'll all meet on this particular night at this time to do an escape room together. And it's just another fun way of doing ministry online. Box of Lies. How am I doing for time? I need to stop. Box of Lies. I'll just tell you about this one because this is a fun one. Everyone has a random object that they find in their house. This is if you're doing online a group like on Zoom, like tonight. You have an object which is in a box or out of sight, and you have to start describing the object or making something else up as if you're describing the object, and the rest of the group has to decide whether you're actually describing something that you have or whether you've made something up. So obviously the more wacky and weird it is, the better, but that's quite a fun one to do. I think I'm gonna stop there. Any thoughts or comments about any of those ideas? Anyone tried anything? Anyone? Am I stealing your stories? Sorry, Steph, I've just read the chat now.
I think
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, go Rosie.
So I'm actually children's, not youth, but we haven't had youth in this for almost 2 years now. So I'm trying to do the transition bits and things, which is hard. And Facebook and Instagram are the problems because it's a 13-year-old cut-off. So what do you do with those 10, 11, 12-year-olds?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you've got a group that goes down to that age, then you can't. I guess I'm talking more about that sort of 14 to 18-year-old youth group, if you happen to have one of those. Otherwise, yeah, you don't want to be advocating underage social media. I would never want to encourage anyone onto social media any earlier than 13 anyway. It's just not good for your mental health. So yeah, it wouldn't be something. But you could, I guess, think about, I mean, Zoom, with adults' permission and things like that, you can still interact with Zoom. And even Instagram is 13 as well. Both Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, in fact, are 13-year-olds and upwards. So yeah, a little bit more limited when it's that sort of 11 to 14 group. All right, shall we pass over to Steph? And then after Steph's, we'll have a little bit more of a space to chat together and to ask questions and see where we go after that. So over to you, Steph.
So I will try and keep it brief, but I do like to talk. So I've got notes in front of me to keep me on track. And I'm looking at the time, it's 3 minutes past. I will do my utmost. So, as I said, I'm from, I work for the Centenary Project in Bentley, and Bentley is a small village ex-mining community church. We are not a big, wealthy church. We haven't got a big team of people. There's just a few of us. So I'm going to say I've got two parts. My first bit is some things that we've been doing and that we've carried on and what we intend to do. Then my second bit is just to encourage you, because it's easy to sit there listening to us rattle on. And believe me, we are not professionals. The other two might be, but I certainly am not a professional. But seek out what God is asking you to do. Just take, my vicar says, I could have 1,000 good ideas. Find the God idea. What's the God idea? Because that'll be the best one there is. So we're all different and we all have different skills and talents. So just juggle, tweak what might work for you, what won't work for you. So take out what you will from what I'm going to say. So when I started working at St. Peter's Bentley, there were several things up and running that I took over. One of my favourite is cuppa in the car park. So every Thursday morning, me and a small team of people, there's three of us, we stand in the car park, which is on the main road outside the church, situated next to Bentley High Street School. So it's a good, got lots of people passing by, and we give out free hot drinks, free tea, free coffee, as part of being out in the community and blessing people. And Mike's got some photos, I think, Mike. There's our cups. I write on the cups, Jesus loves you. You are amazing. Jesus, the reason for the season. This must have been a Christmas one. And have you got another picture of our little team of people? There we are. There's the vicar and two other people, gentlemen. I'm usually stood on the street saying, come and have a free hot drink. Come and have a chat. And what it's about, what the vicar always, oh, there we are again, look. That was a really gloomy day, but we're still out there. Come rain or shine, we are there. And he's one of our gentlemen. He sometimes brings us biscuits as well. Obviously, at the moment, we can't be doing cuppa because of the coronavirus, but we are looking to get back. But it's always good quality. My vicar says only the best for Bentley. If you're going to do it and you can afford good quality, do good quality, because it speaks volumes to people. Thanks, Mike. You can take that one away. But we're out there in the community, and what we've started doing is being intentional is the new buzzword I'm learning quite quickly. Be intentional. So we ask people, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your day going? Or how's your morning? And be ready to pray for them. If they say, oh, I've had a rubbish night, or I haven't slept well, and we're ready to say, would you like me to pray for you? And often people say yes. Very rarely does anybody say no. Sometimes they're a bit shocked, and I just say, we're just going to pray now. It's just like I'm talking. I can talk to God. We're just going to ask God to bless you. And I just do it with my eyes open, and I just pray for him, my little team. So we haven't been able to do it because of coronavirus. So what we've done instead is online cuppa. So on a Thursday morning at the same time, I have a Zoom meeting and I sit there with my coffee. And this is now for church congregation. They can drop in and just have a chat. And it's really good in the way that we can get to know each other better, because it's a small informal group. Usually there's only 2 or 3 of us, but you can just talk and chat and get to know each other. But we are looking at opening up end of April, and getting out there again. But also in the summer, we do hot chocolate giveaway. So end of term, we give away free hot chocolate with squirty cream, marshmallows and sprinkles, and maybe chocolate. And we do, we have music on loud if it's the summer. We put picnic blankets out on the grass. It's not a big expensive thing. The hot chocolate's probably the most expensive, but if you've got some games, outdoor games, and it's just a way again of mixing with the community and just being that, you know, they get to see you, they get to know who you are, they get to know that you're from the church. So yeah, so that's that. So be ready to step out in faith with the praying for people. Another thing I took on was Little Fishers, which is our play group. And that is basically non-Christian families coming to Playgroup. And before lockdown, we had 30 families attending, and we would have a simple come in and play time. Then we would have a craft that fit in with the story. We had a simple Bible story, a little bit of singing, and I'd usually pray at the end, and that was it. So we're going to change things. We started doing it online, and over the months it's dropped off because then we had the homeschooling. So it was difficult for people to come on because the children were doing schooling and they had little kids. So it's really dropped off. We've actually stopped doing our online thing. But when we're going back, we're going to change how we do things. And because of the spacing, we're going to have less people come in. So it'll be more intimate. So we'll get to know people better. And we're going to be more intentional and in sharing our faith and sharing the good news. And what we're going to do is, I'm not going to talk to the children and tell them a Bible story. I'm going to aim it at the adults because I think they need to know. We always do it at the kids, but I'm going to trial it and see. So yeah, that's that. And then our services, we have a 9:30 traditional service and an 11:15 service that's family service, and these are online. How I think it works is because we have interaction in the second service, the family one. So we give out our phone number, and the vicar has his mobile phone, the church office phone, and people can text message during the service, or so it's on YouTube live streamed. So people can join in on the chat. So they can join in and say, we're here. And like Rachel said, they love a shout out. So we get, oh, thank you for your comment, Rachel. So we get people to phone in with a question of the day. So like it might be, what's your favourite pie? So it's not necessarily related to the theme of the service. Sometimes it's just about building community and finding out a bit about people. So we've had, what's your favourite pie? We had, what's your favourite go-to place? Apple pie, Rachel. Mine's steak and kidney pie. Yeah. And we do the shout outs, like Rachel said. And my vicar, actually, what he did on Sunday was when we did our thank you prayers, he got people to type in the chat what they were thankful for. So we had to wait a bit because there's always a bit of a delay when you're streaming. So he said, type in what you're thankful for. And then we just chatted among ourselves. And then we could see what people were typing in they were thankful for our thank you prayers. When we go back, can you have a shout out? Shout out to Mike North. You're so naughty. Oh. When we go back, we are looking, because the online streaming, we are getting people like Fern from all over the country dropping in to see what we get up to, which is absolutely brilliant. It's amazing. I love it. So we're going to try and carry on online and in person when we are back, but obviously need all the technology. So we're just on with trying to think, how will that work? Another church I know, they've been doing online telephone church. So for the elderly who can't get internet, they can phone in, dial in. And my mother-in-law's 88. She's not been part of that church family for a good 5 years. But because of lockdown and telephone church, she's been able to join in with that congregation, which has been amazing. So that's that. How am I doing? I'll crack on. So these are some little personal ideas, like what you can do, just simple little things. So I'm just so much to say. St. Peter's, the church I work for, I did some, like Mike was saying, the YouTube clips. So just keeping in touch with people, saying what you're up to. So I use my Little Fishers, we've got a Facebook page. And sometimes I just think, one day particularly, I was feeling really low and I'd been crying, and I thought, I just need to tell my little fishes it's all right to be sad. I'm having a bad day today, and I never have bad days. And I thought, I'll wait till later when I look a bit better and my nose isn't red and I'm not snotty. And I thought, no, they need to see this is real. So keep it real. Don't, and I just said, hi, how you doing? As you can see, I'm having a bit of a rubbish day today. I hope you're all right. Let me know if you're not. I'm here for you. Drop me a line. Just, to keep in touch with them. So yeah, I'm a great believer in simple, low cost, high impact things to bless other people. So some of the stuff I've been doing is sending letters to the church family. We've been sending packs, just letters to the children, like little creative packs, nothing fancy. The other week I sent like a paper plate and a sheet of black paper, and they're going to colour the plate in, make a background, put some black crosses like for Easter. So it was simple, cheap, easy to do. Thank you cards to the school was a biggie. I sent a thank you card and a box of chocolates to the local school, just saying thank you for all you're doing, bless you, we're praying for you. And it made a big impact when the teacher rang me and said, oh, Mrs. Darbyshire, thank you for sending the chocolates in. And I was like, oh wow, word got out. So if God is the good news, we need to get out there and just share it all over the place. So be brave. Another thing I like to do is if it's somebody's birthday in the church, I like to send them a happy birthday message, and I sing them happy birthday on Messenger. And one of the dads, he does a bit of DJing. So I dressed up like a DJ with some flashing lights, my cap on back to front, and I pretended like I like DJ, which he absolutely loved. Right, super quick. I want to encourage you. So it's easy to listen and think, gosh, aren't you bright? You've got it sorted. Really, I haven't. Start with what you've got. Sometimes my little things are just little ideas that I think, oh, I could do that. That'd be fun. And it just builds, or it just blesses people. Listen out for the God ideas. Psalm 139 is one of my favorites because it says, God knit you together. He made you to be you. So be you. Don't be me. Don't be Mike North. And don't be Rachel. Especially don't be Rachel. But God made you to be you. He smiles over you and he did. Who's echoing? Is it Rachel?
Rachel,
it was
said,
me. How rude.
Keep going. Hebrews 12. This is what I'm going to do. Keep going. Hebrews 12 says, run the race with perseverance, setting your eyes on Jesus. We're in this together. Persevere. I know it's sometimes like wading through treacle. Just keep going. The heavenly hosts are cheering you on. I was looking because we were doing some podcasts. That was a nightmare. But I was looking at Peter and Abraham and Moses. People who were ordinary people who weren't very eloquent, people that were just the plain ordinary. God uses the people who are willing to say yes. So just say yes, go for it, and he will use you. A dangerous prayer that I pray in the morning, and I stopped praying it recently because it just got too much sometimes, is God, use me today. Give me an opportunity to serve you. Use me, and he will, believe me. I was talking about my chunks. I've got a little discipleship group online, and we was talking about years and years ago, Mike. I don't know if you remember these days. You used to do the sword drill with the Bible. Do you remember? You put it on your arm and you say, I draw my sword. It was a Bible. I never quite understood it. It's about the armor of God and the Bible being God's word, the sword. And you know what? Like, we just need to be ready to share it. A lady who's nothing to do with church. She's a lady who does Slimming World with me, consultant. And she was saying about having a rubbish day. And it came in my head, Psalm 139. And I messaged her and I said, she didn't even know about a Bible or anything. I said, Google Psalm 139 in the Bible. And she messaged me back later and she said, amazing. I just needed to hear it. It's just little easy things. God will use it. It is God's word. It's powerful. End of. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Steph. Oh, there's a lot there. As you can see, we're huge advocates in face-to-face ministry, but there are ways that, and hopefully that's come across as well, that you can use online resources to amplify, to bless, to add to what we can do in the face-to-face. anyone want to come in with any comments or ideas that you've used that we haven't talked about yet, or ask any questions? I've posted my little handout from stuff that I've said, if that's at all helpful.
Can I just say I'm an annoying social media person in that I do post a lot of things. I use it for advertising absolutely everything, and I think like I don't know about your church, but our Facebook following has grown phenomenally in lockdown. And if you haven't got a Facebook page or a group specifically for some of your ministries, then I would recommend that. Because the page is really about advertising, and having like a Facebook group is about building that community. So we use our Facebook group for our messy church, and everyone can post photos and things there. We use one for our summer club as well, and that really sort of built that community online. So if you've not got that, I mean, I've not got Instagram things. Do you have Instagram things, Mike, for your church? I don't know.
Yes, I think so. It's not me. I do have an Instagram account, but I'm too old really to know what to do with it.
I've got Instagram and I use it.
There you are.
I've got Instagram personally, but I don't. Do you use it for church, Steph?
I don't use it for church, but I use it to share good news about Jesus.
Well, that's church.
Not my church, but yeah.
There you go. So if you haven't got that, I would strongly recommend setting up some sort of social media presence going forward. I can see some people are muted. So have people got questions? Sheila and Maserat, you're unmuted.
No, I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in, and I'm thinking all this online stuff. I'm thinking I really need to get my head around it and get hold of being online and being like those Kahoot and things that you were talking about, Mike. I'm thinking, how on earth do I do that, and how do I get them from me to them? But there again, like in your list, they're really savvy, aren't they? I'm thinking youth.
Yeah, a lot of them are. Some of them are,
really
yeah.
savvy. And in one of your bullets, you said get them to do some hosting, and maybe I can switch tables because they know what they're doing.
And I tell you, it's a super booster for any child or young person if you can say to them, "Can you show me how this works?" That is one of the biggest blessings you can say for a child, because suddenly they're like, "You need my help? Oh, I can show you this. I know this. I can help somebody." And that is a massive thing. It's an underrated thing altogether, I think. So yeah, if you do have anyone who's savvy and connected and knows what they're talking about, that's great, because you don't have to learn it. You can allow them, to teach you and show you what it's all about.
Has Rachel just left the meeting? Oh, she's there.
She has, but she's back again.
I think as well, the stuff we do online, it's our services, we keep it real. Last week we started our service and me and the vicar were off. We go, "Hi, welcome to St. Peter's, Bentley." And then we realised people are messaging in saying you're not live yet. And we've been running for about 3 minutes, chatting away like the service we're on. And then when it actually came, we're like, "Oh, here we go again." Yeah.
No, it does take a little bit of time to play with some of these new things like the Mentee Meter and the Kahoot, and think, if you've not heard of those things, it does really pay you dividends if you can give it half an hour just to explore, of an evening. Just think, "Oh, I'm just going to click onto this and practice." And if there's anyone else in the house with you, you can say, can you get on Kahoot and see if this is working? I'm just trying a quiz, and just practice in your home. Sometimes I get a laptop and my phone and a device, and I just log on from all of them and practice using some of the kit, especially with Zoom. In the early days, I'm like, I've got to be able to, run these meetings, but I don't know how it all works. I'm just going to practice with myself. And sometimes with these games and online things, it's just worthwhile, just so you go into the youth group with a bit of confidence, if you like, and think, right, I know how to do this poll. I've worked it out and I've practiced it, so now I can, you know, experiment with the young people as well. That can be fun. Anyone else doing anything online that that they can tell us about and encourage others about?
One of the things, going back to your Lego earlier, Rachel, for Lent, is that I've done a booklet based on someone else's idea. There's 18 different Lego challenges that they've been doing throughout Lent, and then they're sending in photos, so that goes on our social media and our websites, and they can see what everyone else is doing. And when it was Show Tuesday, I got all my children's leaders to take photos of themselves making pancakes before the day, and then got the children to respond to them. So that was quite a nice way of bringing my leaders together who haven't been involved and haven't wanted to film themselves, but were happy just to have a photo at home.
That's really good. That's really good, because I think wherever you can use the online world just to keep those connections open, it doesn't have to be, you know, another Zoom meeting, you know, with the messy church group or the youth group. It can be, you know, little messages that go out from you saying, how about trying this, or have a, you know, like Rachel said, you can be surprised sometimes when you ask for a picture on a certain theme, or send us in, you know, your thoughts about this on a little video or something. It, you know, that allows people a bit of time to think about how they want to capture something rather than being live and having to come up with an answer, or and be scared in that moment, but having a bit of time to create something. My 14-year-old Nathan is into bass guitar. He's quite a shy lad, and he's the one who never wants his camera on when it's, you know, the youth Zoom call, and he's always a little bit, oh, is that on again? It's like, yeah, but you know, he enjoys it being there physically and being with people, but the online stuff just hasn't really done it for him. But you know, if you ask him, you know, to like video him doing, you know, a new bass line that he's just learned, you know, he gets really excited about being able to share that, and maybe people think it's quite cool and good, and you know, it's a little outlet for him. And so sometimes it is just finding ways in for people who maybe don't want to interact, you know, face to face on the camera, but actually give them a little challenge, you know, video yourself doing a hobby, or share, you know, what you like to do, take some pictures of this, and sharing it.
I think that's the beauty of the Lego as well, Mike, is that they can be on the camera, but they're doing something, and it's very kind of interactive. So I would say if your Lego challenge has gone well, Rosie, and you've got people come back from it, I'll put my email, do pop me an email, I'll send you the plan that we've got for the Lego club, because like it kind of birthed out of wanting to do it as an after school club in school, like physically in school, on a Zoom training that I did in lockdown on using Lego for ministry. And I was like, well, why am I waiting for the schools to let me back in? I could be doing this on Zoom. And actually, I think there might still be a place for some Zoom meetings, because actually when it gets dark in the evenings, you don't want to have to drive the kids here, there and everywhere. Actually, people might still like to dip in and out of Zoom things, because it's less travel, it's less cost. So yeah, if you want the plan for the Lego club, let me know and I'll happily share it.
Any little experiences that you've brought from your churches that have worked? We don't need to drag it out to 8:30. If we're all done, we can say good night. And thank you, Rachel. Rachel's put her email in the chat if you do want to get hold of the vast resource bank that Rachel holds.
Or anything else. If you want anything about Summer Club, send me an email, because I can't for the life of me figure out how to put files on Zoom. So put some Google ones on, but I can't put the files that are in my share drive. So yeah, I'm happy to share. I think that's the thing. There's normally something that someone's done, isn't there, that you can steal and abuse.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been fun to churn through some of these ideas and hear some of yours as well. I hope it has been helpful in some way. like I say, I think all of these videos and the other ones in the series, on the connected series, there's quite a few of these webinars going on last week and this week and maybe even next week. So you can check out some of the others. They're all being recorded and they'll all go on the Sheffield Diocese YouTube channel eventually. But thanks for taking part. If there's nothing else, do we have we'll finish with a prayer and we'll let you get on to whatever else you have for your evenings.
Can I just say quickly, if at work, I had a very busy week and I'm almost dead now. I was talking to my colleagues and I said, oh, what you are going to do now? I said, I'm preparing for Easter Zoom service for family. And one of the girls started talking, oh yes, I do remember Easter story when I was little, when I was in school. And I said, if you're interested, I can bring a book tomorrow, and then at work and break time, we can have a look. So this morning, I took that little booklet, what I'm using, reading it through, and they were just putting, oh yes, I remember the donkey and the palm and this and that. They were getting. So I just want to say, pray for all my colleagues and staff. They touched the book today. So God will speak to them, because they have a good memory behind it. And I have a great faith for the media. But that I call it, that is my indirect evangelism.
There you are. There you are.
And Mike, you always beat me. Whenever I open my Facebook, you are always before me.
I'm sorry about
How come?
I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Mr.
1 hour already. I said, okay, I'm late again. No, thank you very much. That's really encouraging. And these words, when I share, and it, because people with my colleagues at NHS, and thank you very much doing that for NHS Rainbow. Thank you very much. I will tell my colleagues. People love NHS. Yeah, thank you. And please do especially pray for my colleagues who open that storybook and they'll encounter Jesus again when they were in Sunday school.
Absolutely.
I'll just share briefly, but years and years ago, a lady I knew were talking about Easter, and I said, she said, why is it to do with church? What's Easter got to do with church? And she didn't know. She was in her 40s and she didn't know about Easter. And when I explained, it was Helen Bradshaw, Mike, and she won't mind me sharing it. She was just like, how can I be 40 buying Easter eggs for my children and I don't know anything about the real meaning? And that made us start on a Christian journey to look into, Yeah. And so don't take for granted people know it. So we've got a good opportunity ahead in the next few days.
Wonderful. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this chance to connect with each other. Thank you for the friendly faces that have appeared on our screens tonight, and the space to be able to share some stories and some ideas and hopefully spark some creative ideas in others. I do pray for each of us on this screen, that your Spirit continue to fill us and to work through us, that you would bless all our work with the children's and families and young people that we work with in our churches, and help us to be brave to try new things and to learn new things. I do pray for Masrat's book as it awaits her colleagues to enter in and to explore. We thank you for the witness and the light that she is, and pray that she would have many more conversations, especially over this Easter period as it comes, with her colleagues and friends in her workplace, and for each of us, that this Easter would be another time for us to pause and to consider the great gift that you've given to us and the good news that it brings us. So help us to be full of your light and your life in all that we do. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you again for joining us. It's 8:30. How about that? We'll let you get back to whatever awaits you for the rest of the evening. And for me, it will be some cereal, some cereal, a little bit of TV and bed.
Thank you very much.
Sheila's
Thank
eating
you.
for tea.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.